God was secondary. It's like, God, I know you're going to provide all of this for me. And so like, I have so much faith, like when it comes to finances and different things, it's just like, I'm just going to go do it. And like, God, you're just going to have to figure it out. Like God's almost running behind me, like picking up all the garbage. I'm like, girl, like, what are you doing? And I'm like, you got me. And I'm just like,
your personal maid.
Like, God, like honestly though, to some degree.
Okay, what's up, guys? It's the podcast episode something with 3 guests that are friends of mine IRL in real life. This is being released in September at some point, and so happy fall, happy leaves,
Yay,
happy trees changing leaves. Okay, Everyone on the pod, introduce yourself and what you do for our church, and then I have an icebreaker. Okay, go, Juju.
Okay, I'm Julie Anna. If you've heard me on the podcast before, it's not Anna, it's Anna, but just call me Juju. That's great. I work for our kids ministry team, writing curriculum stuff for Central. Yay.
People don't know what Central is.
I don't work at a campus. I work in a little office above a campus.
You kind of work for all of the campuses.
There we go. Thank you. I work for all the campuses.
And she's good at everything, so we force her to do things for YA a lot lately. Okay.
My name's Ryan. People call me RP because there's too many Ryans everywhere. So
there are
gotta differentiate myself from all the other Ryans.
Ryan Paul.
I do too much. I also work at Central, so we support all the campuses in a lot of different ways. But I guess my title is Group Life Operations, but I do operations and logistics for groups, for outreach, for our correctional facilities, and for our men's ministry. So a little bit of everything. I'm kind of the Johnny on the spot.
No, Ryan wrote a group guide for a sermon I gave, and it was better than the sermon I gave. And I was like, Ryan.
I don't know about that.
No, it was so good. I was like,
it was one of my proudest studies that I ever wrote. I was very excited.
If you see Ryan, gas him up. He's a way better writer than he gives himself credit for.
I think I've only shared 3 studies with the staff, been so excited about writing it. I was like, hey, check it out. And that was one of them. So you absolutely crushed that.
Thanks. I just wanted to bring up the sermon I gave. That's why. I'm totally kidding.
Yeah. We'll pump each other up. Yeah.
Yes. No, Ryan's awesome. Okay.
I'm Jonah. I'm our groups and outreach pastor at the Lakewood campus, which is awesome. And this is definitely my sales background talking, but I like to put it like this. I get to network for the kingdom. So I get to help people find their people and help us all strive for the discipline of living in community.
Yeah. And Jonah we met because you were a youth leader at Arvada and you play the drums. Jonah's also good at everything. It's really annoying. And probably not singing, though. We'll talk about that later.
Don't ask me
Give
to
us
sing.
a note.
Beautiful.
But then he was a youth leader and he's so good. And then I was like, you need to work in ministry. And he was like, no. And then he was in sales. And then God recently called you into ministry.
He did. He said that we're going to go do something completely different. So yeah. Long story super short, was working in sales, doing insurance. I was a broker, just not fulfilled at all, and asking the Lord to show me what I was supposed to do next because I didn't feel like I was in the right spot. And just in God's perfect timing, he opened a door to come work at Red Rocks, which was already my church home. So volunteer turned staff member. Yeah.
And you're so fun. So I'm glad you're all here. The topic of today is we are ending a series called Game Changers. And it's basically people in their 20s trying to figure out how to grow, find God, honestly trying to figure out everything. I feel like you enter out of high school and then you're like a freshman adult. And in normal life, freshman year ends after a year, but I feel like in adulthood, it's like a 10-year freshman year. Mm-hmm. And so I think I hear young adults asking, what changed the game, when they're asking older people or even people their own age that are following Jesus, what were game changers in your life that helped you grow, root yourself in God? What were things that you did that you stopped doing that was a good thing? Things that you started doing, maybe sermons you heard, books you read, advice people gave you. And so the goal of you 3 being on here is I think you're all very different, but I do think you're all very you have growth mindsets. You really want to grow. You really want to know who Jesus is, but you're also very authentic, honest, and you're going to be honest about the messy parts of it. Yeah. Before we get into the intense things, though, I have an icebreaker.
Let's go. Let's hear it.
Here's my icebreaker.
I'm scared.
No, it's good. So if you could have one lifestyle luxury added to your life, so I'll give you examples, like a chef, a personal trainer, personal assistant, like a lifestyle luxury,
Yeah.
for free, what would you pick?
I'll go. I know right away. I 100% would do a chef, and I'll tell you why. One, it'd be awesome to just have way nicer food than I can afford to eat right now. Second thing is choosing what to eat is my least favorite thing to do probably ever. I did search and rescue. I was a 911 dispatcher, had to make split-second decisions. I'm a good decision maker, but when it comes to choosing what to eat, I just want someone to feed me. I don't care what it is. That's why it was awesome that we guys got us lunch today. So didn't have to choose, just got to show up and eat some food. So that I 100%, no doubt, I would choose a chef.
So when you and Kelsey go out to dinner, are you the one that's like, babe, just you pick?
Sometimes we just decide not to go out to dinner because we can't decide. It's just hot dogs and macaroni at home or something something easy. But
hot dogs and macaroni. That's cursed.
Yeah.
That sounds yummy.
That is amazing. Okay, personal chef.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think I would say a personal chef just because groceries are really expensive, but I actually like cooking. And John really likes cooking.
Oh.
And so if I'm not just copying Ryan, but all of those are very valid points. And I actually totally agree. And plus you would probably save a ton of money if it was free, but maybe like a house cleaner. So I mean, just like always have it clean. Cause I think when my space is messy, I'm messy, like my brain inside, like I very much relate. Like if I have a messy car, the state of my car or the state of my room or my closet is like the state of how I'm doing mentally.
Oh.
So if there was somebody there that was just like always pick up my dog toys or like put my laundry away, then it's like I have
fair.
like the capacity or the freedom to like create and do other things because it's not like cluttered in my brain.
I picture if you have a house, you just come home and like throw your crap everywhere, like so whimsically.
I just like am dumping my laundry out all over the floor, like haha.
You seem like the type. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's not a good way to start anything. It's like next best to no offense. Don't be offended by this, but no, you seem like the type to like dump your clean laundry on the bed so that you'll fold it, but then like move it to the floor. And not
I don't.
fold it.
But I have it all folded in like a hamper, and then it just sits in my closet. And all I have to do is just put it
But you can't.
away. But then I just dig from it.
Oh no.
For
Even
like 2
better.
weeks, and then it's all dirty. And then you're like, then the cycle continues. Because John doesn't like doing laundry or putting away laundry, and I don't like putting away laundry. So then the clean laundry all just sits there for like ever. And then I'm like,
It's like a game
and
of
a mental
chicken.
breakdown.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the push it on the floor kind of person. I will clean all of my laundry and then it will sit in a pile on a chair for 2
but
weeks.
you have a dog. So does your dog get into it? Like our dog
Surprisingly,
carries
no.
our clothes around
He
town.
doesn't chew my socks or anything,
That's
which came as a
Really?
shock to me, but I'm very
Because
grateful
he's a
for that.
retriever too.
Yeah, he's a golden,
And
yeah.
like the videos where they always have the sock in their mouth, like.
What he will do is I can't leave food out. I have a little camera in my apartment so I can see him when I'm not home. And I've caught him red-handed with his paws like up on the counter, like
Booker.
trying to lick at a pot that I'd used to like cook the night
His
before.
tongue's like so long, like trying to get in.
And I can talk through the camera, so I'll just be like, Booker. And then he'll turn
Wait,
and
that's
look.
Is it the camera that you can like feed treats to him too? You can like hit a button
No,
and
but I've heard of that. I want one of those.
I used to have one of those when Odin was little.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Jonah.
I'm going to go with executive assistant.
Okay.
Because here's the thing, you complimented me for having a growth mindset. Thank you. I believe I do, but being detail oriented does not come naturally to me. I can galvanize. I can get a whole room of people together and united behind an idea, but actually executing on that idea, I'm like, that needs to be somebody else. I'm like,
Yes.
work my calendar, schedule my meetings, tell me when and where I need to be places, because that is just not how I'm wired at all. So if I could have an assistant, I just feel like
Oh, that's what I want.
make my day so much easier.
If anyone's looking for an internship. I'm just kidding. Just a personal
Shameless plug.
Can I change mine to Jonah's? Because I feel like an executive assistant would just tell me where to eat, and then I get them for other things. too.
Schedule your meals for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they're not cooking for you though.
All right.
I want an executive assistant too. I want you to go on my socials. I want you to do my email. I want you to text everyone back in my life. I want a personal assistant. I never want to look at a calendar again. You just tell me to show up. I'm there with my personality and fun. You know what I mean? Oh, and they can outline my sermons for me, like
There
make
you
the
go.
outline part. Guys, let's dive into this content
Yeah, let's
because
do
we're
it.
10 minutes in and we could talk for a million years. Okay. Let's define, I kind of want to define game changer. I think I was talking to everyone before about this idea that I guess for me, my game changer, and I think it'll help define it, was kind of changing like the rules of the game. I think a lot of people go into their 20s feeling like it's like an escalator. Like you have to make the perfect right decision that's going to get you on the escalator so that it'll just shoot you up to the top. And it's this linear mindset to growth, this linear mindset to your 20s, this idea that like every decision needs to be perfect and right, and that they'll all compound, and that any wrong decision means you're going to fall all the way back to the bottom. I actually on ESPN just watched it's called the Stair Climbing Championships, and they put a slip and slide over these stairs.
Is it on ESPN The Ocho?
I've seen
I think
this.
so.
Yeah.
And there's all these people and they're like greased up in these outfits, and they like have to climb up the stairs, and then one wrong move and they fall all the way down, and then they take everyone with them, and it's so good.
Isn't that your 20s?
That is your 20s. And I think
100%.
and so many young adults feel really limited by that perspective. And so I guess right off the top, for all of us, we probably have like 50 game changers that like course corrected us, moved us in a different direction. A game changer that like gave us a skill that didn't look like it was going to help us, but then later we realized. And so right off the bat, I want to change the metaphor from this climbing the stairs, the escalator, to your 20s are like a playground where you are trying things, gaining skills, gaining perspectives, learning, course correcting, turning around, going to the left, the right. And so as we navigate it, I think for me, that was my biggest game changer. Someone told me that when I was 22. It was like, wait, you're viewing this entirely wrong. And then I think it created spaciousness in my mind to navigate the days, the weeks, the years, whatever. I've had to fight really hard to keep that mindset because it's, I think, very countercultural. So I don't know if you guys have anything to say about that definition of game changers, your 20s. Ryan, I don't know if you have any thoughts. I feel like so you had a lot to say about that.
Man, people that get stuck in their 20s, I think sometimes get so focused on their calling, or like, this is what I'm studying, which means this is the job that I'm going to have, and this is when I'm going to get married, and all these things. And like you said, it's an escalator, and it's very linear. And that's not always the case. I think when you're so focused on your calling, you miss out on God revealing what your purpose is. And your purpose and your calling are not the same thing. Your purpose is why you exist. It's the thing that God has anointed you with. Your calling is a medium through which you carry out your purpose. And I think you see this a lot in the life of David, right? Where he's out in the field and he's tending the sheep. And that's a very important line. We see that a lot in the gospel. But at the time, that was like really looked down upon. Shepherds were not respected. It was a job for people that didn't have skills, but he was tending the sheep, and he was embracing his purpose. God was revealing his purpose in the pasture before he was called to be king. And if you read 1 and 2 Samuel and the life of David, you see characteristics and attributes and spiritual giftings that show up over and over again in David's life, even though he was called in and out of certain things. So he was called to be a shepherd early on when he was a young boy tending the sheep. Then he was called to be a music player. I forget the word for Saul, ends up being his armor bearer, right? Then he slays Goliath, okay? And eventually ends up fleeing because Saul tries to kill him, and then becomes king. But if you look at the patterns that are revealed throughout that story, it's not like, oh, I was called to be king and I'm just watching these dumb old sheep in this field, or I'm bringing supplies to the battlefront, and so I'm not fulfilling my calling. What's revealed is he is a warrior, both physical and spiritual, right? Because when Saul was not being faithful to God, his anointing left him and he was tormented by an evil spirit, right? And David tamed that spirit with his music. Then he goes on to physical warfare, right? So he's a warrior, he's a protector, he's a leader, he's a worshiper. That is his purpose. His other purpose is also to be a foreshadow of Jesus, right? And so I think for people in their 20s, don't get so focused on, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to do this thing, or, I don't know what I'm studying, so I don't know who I am. I think right now, wherever you are, however old you are, whether you just started college, whether you're on your third job after college in 3 years and you're wondering, there are patterns that God is trying to reveal to you in your life he's trying to reveal your purpose and your reason for existence and the anointing over your life. And I think once you discover and embrace what that is, you'll have so much more peace and direction moving forward to really step into those callings. And the other thing too is I think, we're starting to get out of it. But we have, generations behind us, parents, you go to school, you get married, and then you die at your desk 55 years. You have that one job forever. And that's just not the case anymore. And that might be what God calls you to do. He might call you into one thing for the next 40 years, but he might not. He might call you in and out of seasons. And there's part of me that's like, man, I want some stability. I want to have this thing that I can just pour my life into for the next 40 years. But there's also such an adventure to being called in and out of these things. But regardless of whatever happens, whether I do something for the next 40 years or whether I'm called in and out of something for, every 2 or 3 years, I know my purpose. And so I'm going to carry that and embrace that in whatever God calls me to do.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so good. That's so good. You made me think of something too, like stepping out of corporate and into a job at a church, which is just like not at all what I saw myself doing. To your point of the escalator, another way I heard it put a lot in my last job was like climbing the ladder. I hate that saying so much, but it's very countercultural. Here's the storyline that everyone like wants you to think is like, you grow up, you go to school, you go to college, you get a degree, you get a job, you work till you retire, and then you get to start enjoying your life once you're 65, right? Like that's what we get told all the time. And it's just not. Like I've had to unlearn that mindset, like kind of like you were saying, stepping into a job at a church. I brought a lot of like bad work habits that got ingrained in me working my last job. Like to it being a playground, this is my 4th job in 3 years since graduating college, and who knows how long the Lord will have me here, and then I'll go do the next thing. Exactly. Like my purpose on this earth is not defined by what I'm doing for work. So I would totally agree with what you were saying. Just like to free yourself up, like you're going to have a lot of different jobs, and it's really, that's your job isn't your purpose at the end of the day.
I have a question for you, Jonah. Because you have switched jobs so many times in the last 4 years. And kind of ties into what Ryan was saying. When you worked in sales, what did you feel like we know like the day in, day out, like your sales job, like you were trying to sell insurance. But what did you feel like in the midst of that was your purpose? Like how did you carry your purpose as like child of God, Jonah? And then the second question is, when did you know what was it like knowing you were supposed to pivot? Like your mindset, like, was that a hard mindset shift? Like what?
Great
Those are my 2 questions.
How did I carry my purpose within that? I really feel like, and I think just being a light is how I would sum it up. I worked in an office where not only was I the only Christian in that office, I had people that worked there that were outwardly against Christianity and looked at me and treated me differently as a result of it. Like nothing crazy, but they were just like very standoffish, kind of just wanted nothing to do with me. I'm not going to force myself on anybody. So I really felt the Lord just make it so simple. He's like, hey, you let your presence here just reflect me to these people. These people that would probably never step foot in a church, want nothing to do. Maybe they have their own past, their own church or whatever it is. Like, I just want you to be me to them, just through the way you carry yourself. So I would just, not in like a performance way, but I'd be very aware of, the way I spoke and the way I interacted with people. And I would always try to care for them as people first and coworkers second. And I worked with this really awesome guy named Griffin. Shout out Griffin. I have no idea if he'll ever listen to this, but I'm like 4 months in, and he came up to me one day. He's like, Jonah, there's just something different about you. You're always in a good mood. It's so easy for the sales job to like get people down. And I feel like everyone just gets so down in the dumps all the time. But I see you walk in every morning and you just have a smile on your face, and you just seem like light, and you just seem like happy to be here. And I just want you to know, I like really appreciate that about you. And it like almost made me cry, and I never cry because I was like one of the most genuine compliments I've like ever received from somebody. But yeah, I think that was me walking in exactly what the Lord asked of me in that season, was just be a light. You never know the eternal impact that could have on people. And then to your second question, when did I know it was time to pivot? I mean, I could go deep down the rabbit hole. I kind of didn't.
I know this story, but I just want other people to know this story, because I think, how old are you?
I'm 25.
Like, you're the age of a lot of our listeners. And so I think this testimony, I don't know, I think it's really cool. That's why I wanted to share.
I'm happy to tell it. Hey, we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. Come on, somebody. So I had this insurance job for about 15, 16 months, like almost a year and a half. And about 8 months in is when I just started to feel, in the best way looking back on it now, what I like to call it is a righteous discontent. I just like felt like at a soul level, like I knew I wasn't in the right place, but I had no idea why or where it had come from. I just knew I needed to pursue that and ask the Lord about it. So, and that was about 8 months in. So then I stay at this job another 6 months. So this was like a half-year process for me trying to figure out where I was supposed to go. So just like really practically for me, I just start praying. I'm like, Lord, like, is this just like a rut? Cause I'm not making as many sales as I want to make, am I just like in kind of a funk or like what's going on? And, he was just very gracious in that time to me. And he reinforced like the feelings of like, no, like this is me trying to say something to you. So I want you to just keep showing up every day and just keep seeking me. And I'm going to let you know. And it took a lot of prayer and a lot of patience, which, I find it hard. The fruits of the Spirit, patience is probably the hardest one for me. Yeah. Even driving over here, like literally. But no, I just felt it on my heart and I was like, all right, Lord, I feel like you're telling me to move on and I don't know where that is. And I didn't know where it was when I like made the decision to leave. Wow. And like, I'll try to keep this brief, like quick side note too. I don't know why. And it's actually comical. God, if people say God doesn't have a sense of humor, he does. I've always, for some reason, had a bad outlook at the idea of working in ministry, like as like your full-time job. I have no church hurt in my past or anything. I have no real logical basis for thinking that way, but I did probably buying into the, the whole American dream, get a degree, go to work, whatever. And the Lord invited me to like lay that down. I remember driving to work one day and he's like, why do you think like that, Jonah? And I was like, I don't know. I don't really have anything like horrible that happened in my past that would, turn me off to the idea of working at a church or something. So I'd like spent a couple of weeks just like really honing in on that question of him, like asking me why I thought like that. And I came to a point where I was like, you know what? Okay. Like, I'm going to lay this down. I'm going to stop thinking like that. And I'm going to try my best to actually be open-minded to, what opportunities, what doors you might want to open. Mm-hmm. I kid you not, the next day after I made that decision to shift my perspective, I got a phone call from Dakota, the campus pastor of our Lakewood campus.
I hyped you up so hard.
Ryan did. Ryan gassed me up.
I was so pumped.
We always want to work with Jonah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Guys, stop it. But no, literally the next morning, Dakota calls me because my fiance, who also works here, and Ryan had been having conversations and had been praying on my behalf that I would find my next step. And Dakota was like, I'll call him if you guys think he would actually consider it. And then Jojo chuckled. He's like, well, funny you should say that. He's actually just been really wrestling with, where to go next. And he's been changing his mindset on the idea of working in ministry. Like, yeah, give him a call. Yeah. And then talked to him, prayed about it. And like a week later, I had been hired on. So it was just a complete God thing. It was so cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
that's cool, Jonah. And I respect you for being obedient.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And wrestling too.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Which I feel like God has to tell me things like a lot of times before I start them.
Before I started working here, I had that like a similar moment where God, I had just left a previous ministry job and I had been in ministry for several years. And then I was like, I will work at Starbucks, Lord. I will be a cocktail waitress. I'll do bar ministry. How fun. I'll go work and be a cart girl on a golf course because I just feel like I can live out my calling. It doesn't matter what my vocation is. Like I will just live for the Lord wherever you have me. Yeah. So and his response was, what do you believe about my church? And I was like, that it's not like that. It's whatever, that the church is these four people right here. It's actually not a building. I could go up to the mountains and experience you, but I don't need community. I don't need a building. I don't need, a mega church or whatever to be fulfilled. And I wrestled with God for months on that question. And then finally got to the place where I was like, God, your church is how you are going to redeem the world. Yeah. And you are inviting me to be part of it, to be an active participant in it. And why would I ever say no to that? And then like the next day, it was like Jerica Matrone and then Andrew Matrone because my husband's on the worship team. So he was working with Jerica, Andrew's wife, all these people at the time called and it was just the most random thing. And then like a week later I was hired. But it's just
That's so
like
cool.
the patience of the Lord to allow us the space to like wrestle with these like really hard concepts.
Oh my gosh.
Just for us to be like, yeah, you're right, God. And then just like he opens up the opportunity of like, I've just been waiting for you to say like, okay, God, like I trust you.
But here's
You know?
what it shows you about God is he's really concerned about your heart.
Yeah.
And the things going on in your heart. And I think if young adults could learn anything about the heart of our God is that he cares about your heart at first, like more than what your hands. I think we think that God's really concerned with our hands and like what our hands are doing, which he is, but he wants the hands to be the overflow of the heart. And so I think he always starts with our heart.
Yeah.
And so I love for both of you is like this convicting question of like, why do you think this way? Or what do you think about this?
And there's no timeline either. You know, I'm like, I could have wrestled for like 5 years with this question and it still would have been enough for him to be like, I'm so glad you're here with me wrestling. You know, it's not like, well, I need you to kind of get to this answer because they're trying to hire you next week. Like his timeline is just not ours, but it's also perfect. You know, and there's a mystery in that.
It was, the way he met me was so gracious. Like it just showed you he is Emmanuel. He is God with us. And the way he was able to meet me in that space when I had no idea what I was, you know, supposed to do. And he's like, I'm just going to sit with you and we're going to figure this out together. That's what I felt like his heart posture was towards me. And it was so necessary for me, you know, and allowed me that space, like you were saying, which is so cool.
Okay, here's the big question I want to ask. I'm really visual, so you know, like the ESPN top 9 like plays of the week. You know, like those are my. Is it top 10?
I've never heard of ESPN. Please explain in great detail.
Sports, you guys. Him and Ryan love the same hockey team.
We went over this in our training. It's encourage, scripture, prayer, next steps.
Dallas Stars, right, Ryan?
Woo.
No,
I'm just
absolutely
kidding.
not.
Yeah, we can't divulge too deep about sports because Ryan and I are arch rivals once hockey season starts.
Fight on the YA podcast.
Guys,
we can't talk about hockey.
While I was eating my Chick-fil-A salad, and I was like, oh my gosh,
It got very intense.
Okay, here's my question. And Ryan, I want to start with you. If you were to look, because we're the same age, right? No, you're 1 year younger.
I just turned 33.
You're 1 year older than me. I'm 32.
Yeah.
Hey. Okay. If you were to look at your 20s and look at like, you know, your ESPN highlights, I want to call them like game-changing moments.
Yeah.
Is there, and I want both of you to answer this too, is there anything that like really glaringly sticks out?
Yeah, I think there's 2, and I could talk about both of them forever. So I'll just start with the first one, and we can go to the second if you want. I think the first one is, man, the Lord's plans are so much better than your plans, and I know it's hard to trust Him, but the best moments, the best experiences, the most growth, the biggest impact that I've made on the lives of other people have come from saying yes to God calling me to do things that I never could have imagined or dreamed of myself. Things that weren't on my radar, that I wasn't seeking out, that were like absolutely terrifying and that I said no to multiple times. But like God is not concerned about your preparedness. He's concerned about your heart. I think in Jeremiah, the Lord calls him to be a prophet, and he says like, I can't speak. Like I'm too young. I don't know how to do this. And the Lord says, don't talk about how you're too young. Do what I say, and I will be with you, and I will tell you what to say. I will be with you every step. I will equip you and prepare you. And I've just seen so much fruit in that. All of the things that I've wanted, that I've desired, the tracks and the lanes that I thought I wanted to go down, none of those worked out. Like Jonah was saying, God has a sense of humor, you know. But yeah, when you say yes to just that one open door that He places in front of you, and you're just like, God, I don't know what you're trying to do. I'm scared. I feel wildly unqualified. But if you're here, then I'll say yes, and I'll just take one step at a time. And I've just seen so much fruit in that from starting search and rescue. I was on the only collegiate-based nationally certified search and rescue team in the country, where there's 18, 19, 20-year-olds as a designated search and rescue team for 2 entire counties, getting to fly around in helicopters and save people's lives. It was one of the greatest experiences I've ever had, and I am the leader I am today because of that experience. And that gave me the courage to take over as a men's hockey president in college when he was graduating early, and walked in the locker room and dropped 2 binders and said, I'm out. And I had no idea how to run a collegiate hockey program and order equipment and schedule games and all that stuff. And I told God no like 5 or 6 times, and finally had a conversation with a mentor. He's like, well, what do you want? I was like, I want to play hockey. He's like, okay, well, none of you get to play hockey if someone doesn't do this. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'll figure it out. And so I was like, God, I need you to show me how to do this. I need you to put people in my way that are going to reach out and show me the way. And I started getting phone calls from other coaches and other schools. Like, yo, I was in the same place last year. Yeah. Like, I'll show you how to do this. Here's contacts for like equipment reps, all this stuff. And I was just faithful in that, saying yes. And the next thing I know, I'm in the office of a campus recreation director, and he's like, hey, I want you to apply for student government. My representative is graduating next year. And I'm like, no, student government is not for me. And he's like, you'll be back. We're going to talk about this every day till you say yes. And that's exactly what happened. And I said yes, fell in love with it. Made it to the end of that next year, was going to just apply for that same job again. And the president of student government was like, I'm graduating. I think you'd be a great president. You should run for election. And I laughed and it was like, absolutely not. Yeah. And prayed, and God was like, I want you to do this, and got that. And just the impact and the fruit that I've seen from, my development and the way that God has moved through me to impact other people's lives through just saying yes to the things that scare you, have been the greatest experiences and greatest memories that I just cherish so much. So say yes. It kind of came up earlier. There's kind of that mentality, college is, time to get away from your parents and figure out who you are and experiment and try everything. And I think, oftentimes if you grew up in the church, you kind of go off the deep end in the other direction. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying try everything and do everything and be a yes man, say yes to everything, because that can destroy you too. You definitely need to be discerning. But man, if something comes along that like you never could have imagined yourself doing and it scares you, man, you're in good company. How many stories in the Bible are similar to that? And we see the faithfulness and the fruit of the Lord through the faithfulness of those people. So why wouldn't you trust that he's going to do that through your yes? I want to know, because it sounds to me in all these moments where you could have said no, how did you navigate fear? Like I'm thinking, I feel like in the morning is when fear is so loud, right? Like when I have this long day ahead of me, morning Casey is weak. Like if anyone saw me in the morning, it'd be like, oh, she's scared of everything she has to do today. And then nighttime Casey's like, why was I ever scared of any of that? I crushed it. How did you, I know she's awesome. Morning Casey's not, but how did you, what is your relationship with fear? Oh, I maybe have a little bit more unique of a relationship with fear. I think because of search and rescue, which I love so much, it's a very dangerous thing, but we train really, really, really hard. We practice and we study and we learn, and you get to this place where execution of these duties in these extreme environments, which is very dangerous. And there's definitely a fear component involved. One, you just learn to trust that God is with you. And in your weakness, that he will be strong, he will show up. I think too, man, when you are faithful and obedient and you practice and you train and you study and you learn and you absorb and try to be excellent in every way you can in the things that you can control. When fear comes, your body, your mind, your spirit almost go on autopilot. And it allows you to focus on the things that truly matter, which is always people. It always comes back to people and relationships. And so whether you're dangling off a cliff or you're going into avalanche terrain or you're about to get into a helicopter, which is where most accidents happen in search and rescue, the fear component is I have done the work. I have made the effort to be as prepared and trained up as I possibly can. And I'm going to use my discernment and rely on my team and trust God with that process. And because of those experiences, I kind of have this mentality. I've said it before, like, man, if someone didn't die and we didn't bankrupt the company, like, who cares if you fail? Yeah. Like, I think sometimes we have unrealistic fears of things that really aren't realistically going to happen or really aren't that bad in the long term. And I know there are people that struggle with depression and anxiety and overthinking. I've definitely been there before, so I don't want to discredit the overthinker, the anxious heart. But man, when you just lean into that fear, trust the Lord with the things that are out of your control, trust that he is with you. And in those things that you can control, just be the most excellent version of yourself.
I like that. I mean, it's kind of like a new working definition of courage. You brought up like the why, like people.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people see courage as like completely jumping into the unknown, but I do think the why, like jumping into the why is really courage, right?
Yeah.
Like, wait. Like when I go to give a sermon, if my mindset is don't give a bad sermon or be the best preacher, then I'm usually going to do a bad job or I'm not present. But if my mindset is I have something to say that's going to set people free.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not even thinking about the quality, for some reason, fear becomes excitement. Like I can transition.
Yeah.
So I love what you said about your why. And then I also like what you said about preparation and like being excellent in things you can control. Because then I think courage becomes less just jump off the cliff and hopefully you don't hit a rock it becomes more mindful.
Yeah.
But it still does involve like you cannot eliminate every unknown.
Yeah.
Too, which is realistic.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's so good. And I think going back to your why, that wasn't really where my head was at, but maybe that's what I was saying. And I love that so much. I think, man, you have to know your why. And just kind of like that search and rescue example, like helicopters are the most dangerous thing that you will be involved in search and rescue. That's where the most accidents happen and deaths happen, whether it's avalanches or falling off cliffs or other freak accidents, like helicopters. So, whenever we're on a mission and we're about to climb into a National Guard helicopter or a medical helicopter, I ask myself, like, am I ready to die today? And I know that's like very extreme, but I take a second. I think like, man, if I was out here, because I love to mountain bike and ice climb and rock climb and hike and camp and hunt and fish. If something happened to me, man, I would hope that someone would have the heart and be willing to leave their family, their friends, their comfort of their home at 3 a.m. and come out and get me because they thought I was worth it.
Yeah. Wow.
And so like if I die today, I die doing something that I believed was worth giving my life to.
Yeah.
And if the answer was ever no to that, then I'm not getting on that helicopter. Then I'm not going on that mission. If I'm in a mental state where I'm questioning what I'm doing or why I'm doing it, then the answer is no.
Yeah.
But for me, like the answer was always yes. Like I believe in this so deeply, I'm willing to give my life to it. Yeah. And that's honestly like a wish that I have for every young adult. Like I want you to find something that you would give your life for and to.
Yeah, that's so good, Ryan. Oh my gosh.
Like the heart of Jesus.
As long as no one died and you don't bankrupt the company.
I know that's really extreme, but
that's like the people it's like the people that aren't good drivers and they're like, but did you die? Like, how do you get where you're going?
Wait, okay, so that was amazing. Okay, Juju, game changer.
Okay. So my 20s, I would say, were marked by traveling a lot.
Yes,
I think I've lived lots of lives in lots of seasons. And so I studied abroad, which I just went back to. I studied abroad in Salzburg, Austria, and I just went back like a couple weeks ago. And so it's like fresh in my brain. I did that, and that was like my senior year of college. And I think that was obviously fun. I studied history and anthropology, so it was really awesome. But it sparked a love for me to want to go and see other countries. And so I ended up, when I was 24, I went and I taught English in South Korea. So I was a teacher over there for a year. And I think that season of my life, which I have like 3 big traveling seasons, and there's a theme and then there's an application. So just stick with me for a second. Okay, because teaching in South Korea, it came after like a major crash out. Like I was going to get my master's degree to be a teacher. I was like, am I even going to be a good teacher? Do I even like teaching? Do I even like kids? Like, what am I doing? Which is funny because I work in kids ministry. But, I was like, oh my gosh, I was in a relationship and I was like, I am freaking out. And so I broke up with my boyfriend and I signed a contract to move to Korea like a month later. And then I moved to across the country, or across the world, not the country, across the world. And I taught for a year and I didn't know anybody and I didn't know the language and I'd never been to an Asian speaking country. It was really scary. And in all of it, now being able to reflect, it is God was able to use it But these years were also the most selfish years of my life. I was so self-centered because everything was about me. It was like, well, what do I need? And what am I scared of? And where do I need to go? And what can I experience? And like, you know, God was secondary. It's like, God, I know you're going to provide all of this for me. And so like, I have so much faith, like when it comes to finances and different things, it's just like, I'm just going to go do it. And like, God, you're just going to have to figure it out. Like God's almost running behind me, like picking up all the garbage. I'm like, girl, like, what are you doing? And I'm like, you got me. And I'm just like,
your personal maid.
Like, yeah. God, like honestly though, to some degree, it's like, he's an afterthought to my 20s, but being able to look back, it's just like, oh my gosh, how he formed me, like the sanctification that happened in those years of I was running away from all of my problems because I could not cope. I had like no strategy. I had no really good friends. I mean, the friends that I actually have, they're still like my best friends, but like really bad community, really bad, what is the word I'm looking for? Not systems. Really bad. I did bad things. Like not bad
habits or like
habits. There it
we
is.
go.
I did bad things.
I got you.
I was in a bad cycle. And not like it wasn't, you know, you're in your 20s, you're just having fun. You know, I don't have a really good community. And so I'm just living my life, but it's living my life so selfishly for me. And so I think when I moved to Korea, I had some really, 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 really incredible friends and they were all Canadian. And so then I was like, I'm just going to pretend to be Canadian for like a little bit there. And that was really fun too. Because I was like, whatever. Anyway, but I started like wrestling with questions about friendship. Like, I'm a really bad friend. I'm a really bad sister. I was a really bad girlfriend. I was just like so much shame of like, oh, I'm just bad. And all these people are good, you know? And so I started to wrestle with, well, what makes them good? And why am I so bad? And just like little things like some of the friends that I had were such good listeners and their pace was so slow. And I was like, I am running so fast right now away from things that the Lord doesn't want me to run away from. He wants me to face. Yeah. And so if Korea taught me anything, it was about how self-centered I was, but I think it was also about like stripping that, like actually looking at my face in the mirror, you know, like that verse in James, it's like, you're not going to look at your face in the mirror and then like walk away and go like, live your life. It's like, you're going to look at your face in the mirror and then like do something about it. And I think my 24, 25 year was like taking a good account of like what is happening in my life and then actually saying, I need to repent for some things. And I actually have goals now of really good, awesome people that like, I think I can take baby steps and like be a better listener. And there's these aspects of Christians and like friendships and people that I'm like, oh, it's actually not, you know, pious and hoity-toity. And, you know, it's like, oh, you can just be normal. Like we can like go and hang out. We can do these things and you can be nice. You don't have to like go to an extreme. Yeah. And so after Korea, I came back and then that's basically when I wanted to go into ministry. And so I actually did the world race. And I know in the YA community, there are people who have done it and people who are considering doing it in like your early 20s. So if anybody literally ever wants to talk about the world race, please reach out to Casey because I will meet with you and talk to you about it because the world race really changed my life. So if like Korea showed me how self-centered I was, like the world race really stripped me and made me really look at who Jesus is and how he's working in my life. And the world race, for those who don't know, it's an 11-month mission trip to 11 different countries. So we went and we did, I was in like Asia, Africa, and South America and doing whatever the host wanted us to do. Which, I mean, it was crazy. Like we were held hostage at one point, like nuts stuff. It was really nuts. Yeah. And I would never do it again. Wow. Like it was really crazy. But all of this to say, like, I think, and this might not be everybody, but I sometimes think your 20s is, you know, what Ryan was saying is like, you're finally out of your parents' house and you're going to go find yourself and like figure out who you are and blah, blah, blah. And it's like this like moment. And it's, if you're really honest with yourself, it's so self-centered. You're only thinking about yourself and like how God is going to use you and move you and like elevate you and like put you in the right position and the right path to be this thing. And I think the faster you can learn that it's not all about you, like the happier you're going to be and the more at peace you're going to be because like the world race like ruined me for Jesus. And I think it's all because of serving. Like, put yourself in a position where it's not all about you, and like put yourself in a position where you're really uncomfortable. Like, get uncomfortable with God, like wash people's feet, like take care of people, go to a different community, like go to people, like go be around people who don't look like you, cultures who don't look like you, who speak different languages than you, like that have communities that are worse off, communities that are better off. Like, get out of your comfort zone and like be challenged by the world view gospel, because like God is moving all around the world. And like that would be like my biggest challenge, because it's where I like found God so deeply, and where like I think if you're only experiencing Jesus in one facet, get out of that facet, because Jesus is everywhere. So like go and find a community to serve in, go make yourself uncomfortable, like learn a new language and like practice it with people where like they don't speak it, and you have to like challenge yourself. Like, I don't know, like go, there are so many, and Ryan, I know like you work in like outreach, like there are so many outreach opportunities that we have here at the church. Like, there are hurting people, there are like widows and orphans and like families and refugees and communities like right here in Colorado or wherever you're listening to, that like need the heart of Jesus through you. And like go, when you find out that it's not all about yourself, and you can actually serve like the lesser one, like God will, I don't know how to say it so clearly. Like, God will fill you up. Yeah. Like you will be okay. And so it's like, if you're just struggling to find your purpose, and I don't know, and like, where am I going, and what job should I have, and where, like, I think you're thinking too much about yourself, and you should go and serve somebody less than you.
Yeah.
You brought up something. So one of my second game-changing points I wrote is like, your calling isn't just about you. Yeah. And so I love that you said like, man, we're so selfish in our 20s. And it made me think, I think that's absolutely right. Like, sometimes you have a wake-up call like, man, I'm so self-centered and this has been all about me. Do you think in your experience it was like your hands and your heart were in the wrong place and it was all about you? Or do you think maybe your hands were in the right place and your heart wasn't? Like, were you doing the right things but for the wrong reasons? Or were you in the wrong place entirely?
I was.
And how did you like figure that out?
Entirely, I think. like, I think I didn't understand the gospel fully. I don't think I understood the kingdom of God, and I don't think I understood the heart of Jesus. And I think I grew up in the church, and so I thought that I did. And it was like, well, I'm a Christian, so I have the label. And so now, and I have forgiveness. So I can do whatever I want and say that I'm a Christian, I'm forgiven. Like, honestly, like God chasing me like my housekeeper, that analogy is like making me giggle. Because I'm like, I knew I'm going to heaven. I knew I was going to heaven from the time I was like 7 years old. Like, I can go out and party and live my life and do all of these things this way, and like, I'm still going to heaven. Like, I feel totally good about that. But it's like connecting the head and the heart piece of like, it's not just me about like salvation. Yeah. It's like, it's a sanctification of like, God's like, I actually have like peace for you. I have freedom. I don't want you to have panic attacks. I don't want you to have anxiety. I don't want you to be in these crappy relationships and friendships and like feel like you're not enough and feel super insecure. Like, I actually have freedom for you in this, but like, you're not going to find it if all you can look at is yourself. Oh my gosh, like, you're only going to find it when you like look at me in the lives, like how I'm moving, like seeing God move in Africa and seeing God move in these places. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so real and you're so big. Good and you're so big. Yes. And like, and putting yourself in perspective of like, I'm so small, but you like desire to have a relationship with me. Like, that's wild. Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's wild stuff.
Well, exactly what you're saying is one of the things that has made me fall more in love with the Lord, and not just him, but also with the Lord's people. It's like when you can come to a place of realizing it's not about me, in the best way. You're like, thank God it's not about me.
God.
Thank God that there is a God bigger than me, bigger than what I'm walking through, bigger than the decisions I'm trying to make, because there's so much going on in your 20s. Like we're talking about. So like, it's made me fall in love with just like worshiping him. You know, there was a couple Sundays ago, I was a wreck. I was just like on my knees in the front row and I was just like praying during the worship song. I was like, God, thank you that like for the next 5 minutes in this worship song, I get to take my eyes off of myself and what's going on in my life. And I just get to praise you because you're bigger than all of it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not about you. And that's a good thing. Yeah. You know what I mean?
The freedom that you have from it. Like I've said, like Galatians 5:1, like it's for freedom Christ has set us free. Therefore do not submit again to a yoke of slavery. It's like my favorite verse that came up in my 20s and I like clung to that. It's like, it's for freedom, where you think, oh, I'm going to go into a worship night and like, oh God, all my problems and all these things and blah, blah, blah. And if you can switch that of like, for freedom, like you have already, like you are bigger. And then like, what a breath of fresh air to be like, oh, I don't actually have to think about any of my issues for a second. Like, God, you're bigger than that. And then the verse that I was thinking of for this is in Galatians 5:13. And it's, for you were called to freedom, brothers, only do not use your freedom as an opportunity for the flesh, but through love, serve one another. And I just think it's like your 20s, if you can like, if you have these opportunities and you have these like scary moments, there will be a moment where you can use it for your flesh. You can use it to elevate your position, to like get the raise and get the bonus and like step on other people so that you can like get to where you're going. But like, but stand against that, like stand firm against that and use it to serve one another. And if you can like, I mean, I think this is just like a lifetime sanctification thing, but if you can start to like wrestle with that and figure that out in your 20s, like, man, God has something so good for you. Like it's just gonna be good.
Well, I'm glad you brought those verses up because I was reading in my new book about Russian literature yesterday. I'm not gonna tell everyone about it. But there was a line in the foreword by, I think it was Malcolm Muggeridge, who he's like a theological writer who's really old, but he was talking about that verse, it's for freedom that Christ has set us free. And it's funny that freedom was he said there's a high consequence to freedom, that like in the Garden of Eden, it was the freedom of the people that led to sin, right? And so then Christ comes back and it is still for freedom that we are set free. And it's like that God would love us so much to have it, let us have agency, right? That the real love wouldn't be God controlling us. Wouldn't be God forcing us to love him, because that wouldn't be real love either. But that you're in your 20s, you've been set free unto freedom, and now you have choices to make. And God will never force himself on you. And what you will find is there's no greater love than a love that would sacrifice for you, be jealous for your presence. Like be jealous for you, want you to be with him, want you to follow his way, want the best for you, but you still at the end of the day get to make a choice. And so I think that's why it's fun that we're talking about this, because
100%.
God's grace comes into play there too. Like you might make a wrong choice and he's still there. You might make you might be driving in your car thinking that working in a church is so stupid, and then you'll hear a whisper of God whisper to you like, why do you think that? You know, and so his constant pursuit of us to draw us into the freedom, give us freedom, and then say, now with your freedom, follow me, please. Because it's how you'll thrive. I think it's a beautiful thing. But I do think what young adults are, they're in this, like, they're feeling the like burden of that choice, right? Okay.
It's okay. You're not alone.
I know.
You're not alone. It's
and there's
like,
so much there.
Oh, I know. There's so much richness. We could go into it. But a God that would like die to give us the very freedom that we abused to get us in the situation in the first place is like a really interesting theological like landscape that we could definitely talk more about. Okay, sweet. Well, gosh, guys, we don't have a lot of time left, and I feel like we could definitely do like a part 2 at some point. And then maybe John, I'll let you kick this off because I kind of forced you to talk about a game-changing moment you recently had. But as we close, gosh, there's so much to say. Do you have any like? Okay, let's go a couple routes. Do you have like a sermon, a book? I'm always trying to give people resources, a quote, a verse. I know we talked a lot about some verses where you're like, this thing, this book, this sermon. I lead a small group and I feel like they're always asking for like really concrete things to like dive into on their own. Anything like that. And then do you just have any advice? I think we've touched on a lot of those things, or just anything. I gave you guys a really big outline. So if there's anything that you're like, no, I need to say this thing, I'll let each of you say like, take like maybe 30 seconds to a minute, and then we'll close out. And
well, anyone out there with ADHD, listen up, because this is me. I'm learning to love reading more, and it's hard for me to read and stay focused. But I would shout out Practicing the Way by John Mark Comer.
Yeah, it's good.
It's humbling me like in the best way. And it's teaching me kind of what we're talking about, what you said, how sanctification, becoming more like Jesus is a lifelong process, you know? Don't think that the 4 people sitting here have it all together. Like
absolutely.
all of
that
us
would be
are
a huge
also
mistake.
being sanctified. And that's really kind of just what this book talks about, is just like, it's not about looking a certain way or acting a certain way. It's just about being with Jesus. And due to that proximity, you will become more like him.
So good.
So yeah, Practicing the Way by John Mark Comer is just an awesome book. And to the point of ADHD, it's a super easy read. You can pick it up. It's just very simply written. So it's not a hard book to dive into. But yeah. Did you say advice too?
Yeah.
I wrote a little thing down, and we've already kind of said this, but just thinking through what I would want to say, I would say release yourself from the pressure of what you're quote unquote supposed to do, which we've kind of already been talking about. If you have a heart to follow God and to push his kingdom forward and to walk in your calling, like Ryan, you were saying, then God is really stinking good at getting you where he wants you to go. And it was, shout out Doug. I got this from the Afterthoughts podcast too, but he said something that has stuck with me for the last few months. Is like, God's plans are not that fragile, and you are not that powerful to where you can mess them up. And he's just really concerned about your heart, like we've been touching on. So like if your heart lies with him and you want what he wants for you, you're going to figure it out. So just free yourself up from thinking you have to have all the answers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So good.
Yeah.
I think for me, man, I love to read, also crippling ADHD. But man, I just love to learn. I love to read. I love to find ways to take, what I'm reading and try to help people I'm mentoring or leading. So I'd say in the context of this, a book recommendation would be The Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan, not the old version. It is a very old book. Get the new version with the 21st century language. But man, if you're a young adult and you're wandering and your journey's been very crooked and you're wondering why it's not linear, man, The Pilgrim's Progress is a beautiful story of finding Jesus the long way around, and seeing where he is and seeing where the devil is, and where they both lie in wait for you. So that'd be a recommendation. I would say also, I think a verse is to just write on your hearts is 1 Timothy 4:12, is don't ever let anyone think less of you because of your age, but set an example to believers in faith, speech, conduct, and purity. I remember I was driving around in Gunnison where I went to college, in the radio station. This was before I ever even heard that verse. There was a talk show and they were talking about like, man, don't ever let anyone look down on you because of you're young, but more importantly, don't give people a reason to. I just believe like, man, this generation wants to change the world. They want to do things differently. They want to push back on the status quo. I think there's a hunger for Jesus in a way we haven't seen in a really, really long time. But you have to make a choice. It is going to cost you. If you truly are obsessed with advancing the gospel and becoming the best version of yourself, that Jesus knows you can be, it's going to cost you. If you're staying up till 3 a.m. playing Call of Duty, if you're not getting to your job that you don't enjoy, that you're waiting for your calling, if you can't get there on time, if you can't be where your feet are, man, you gotta set the example where you're at. Be the person that you want to be treated like. Be the professional that the job, the vocation, the calling, whatever that you're hoping for would need.
That's good.
And then just one more quick thing that really changed my life. It's a quick poem. It's called A Wish for Leaders. It's not Christian, but I think you can see Jesus a lot in it, especially our story. And I can share the backstory later, but A Wish for Leaders. It says, I sincerely wish that you'll have the experience of thinking up a new idea, planning it, organizing it, and following it to completion, and then having it be magnificently successful. I also hope you'll go through the same process and have something bomb out. I wish you could know how it feels to run with all your heart and lose horribly. I wish that you could achieve some great good for mankind, but have nobody know about it except for you. I wish you could find something so worthwhile that you deem it worthy of investing your life. I hope you become frustrated and challenged enough to begin to push back the very barriers of your own personal limitations. I hope you make a stupid, unethical mistake and get caught red-handed and are big enough to say those magic words, "I was wrong." I hope you give so much of yourself that some days you wonder if it's all worth it. I wish for you a magnificent obsession that will give you a reason for living and life and purpose and direction. I wish for you the worst kind of criticism for everything you do, because that makes you fight to achieve beyond what you normally would. I wish for you the experience of leadership. Again, not Christian, but I just see my faith journey. I see Jesus in that so much. The
100%.
world needs this generation to be the leaders and a representation of Christ that we haven't seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
And you can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it.
It's good, Ryan.
That's good.
Gosh, that poem will criminalize out. Juju.
Well, going off that, I think that if you are feeling in a position that you're stuck or you feel far from God or you're hearing lies from the world or you don't know what to do with your life, I would say to just get uncomfortable and go and serve. I think you have to get really honest with yourself and really honest with God about the gospel, about who God's created you to be, about what his church means, about what the kingdom of God means, about what his gospel means, about what his death, life, resurrection means. Like you really have to put in the work with God and like go there. And it might take years and that's okay. I think we process and patience. Like we've said, it's like, we're not on anybody's timeline. He's going to be with you through that. And I think, you're just going to have to sit with the Lord and really wrestle and really take a good hard look at yourself in the mirror of like, where do you want to go? What risks do you want to take? What do you want to get rid of? Like, you're going to have to do some house cleaning and you're going to go and make those choices again and take 2 steps back and 3 steps forward. And that's just the process of it. And it's okay. And you're not alone, but God will be with you through it all. A book I just finished, it's called Praying Like Monks, Living Like Fools by Tyler Staton. And it's so good. It's just a book about prayer. It's really easy. There's a lot of like practical application. But there's this one chapter where he talks about silence and solitude and just sitting with God, like every morning in one spot, the same spot every morning. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go sit on my porch. And I was like, oh, winter, that's going to suck. So it's not going to be that. So I just sit at my kitchen table and he was like, try to get up to 10 minutes where you plant your feet on the ground, you turn your hands up and you just say like, Holy Spirit, come. And you just wait to hear the presence of the Lord enter your life and speak to you. And I was like, I'm going to do 10 minutes because I'm a super Christian now, right? And I can only do 2. So that just lets you know the state of my mind. But every morning, this is literally recent, like the last few weeks, I've been doing this each morning of just like, Holy Spirit, come. And it has really started to transform my prayer life of just saying like, Lord, give me an extra portion. And he will do that for you. Whether it's like, I just need an extra patience, extra this extra portion, like Holy Spirit, come and like, just give me a little extra portion of yourself and he will show up for you. And so I think if you're going to get close to God, which in this process, like you have to, there's like no way around it. You need to understand prayer in a way. And I think this book is a really good tool and resource to understand it in a really easy, applicable way.
Yeah. So good, you guys. Okay. Mine is just, there's a verse that has been like haunting me in John 15. I just gave a little devo to our interns about abiding with Jesus. And I love what you said, Jonah. I think sometimes when you work in ministry, you think you're doing things for God, but we're doing things with God. And when Jesus is giving his disciples his like final words before the cross, he keeps saying like, I'm going to leave and the Holy Spirit's going to come. And if I'm the disciples, I'm like, oh gosh, maybe don't leave. But he gives them this like final charge, and he's telling them like, abide in me and I in you, because apart from me you can do nothing. But there's this little part in verse 2 where he says, every branch in me that does not bear fruit he takes away, and every branch that does bear fruit he prunes. I think when I became a believer, I thought Jesus wouldn't be as concerned with my lifelong healing or I didn't really understand how concerned he'd be with my lifelong healing and my heart, and little wounds that I had and little areas in my life that I disassociated with or buried. Whereas like Jesus really does weep over every wrong. And there is recompense. Like Jesus wants to right every wrong with right in every person's life, whether it's on this side of heaven or in heaven. And somebody recommended this book to me because I am a classic disassociator and avoider. I hate sadness. I hate the idea of feeling sad emotions. I used to assign value to emotions. So like sadness is bad. Happiness is good.
I've done the same thing.
Yeah. And then I had a mentor be like, what if sadness isn't bad or good? And that it's just a thing that you're experiencing. And I'm like, oh, I don't like that. It's bad. And I had a counselor be like, why don't you want to feel sadness? I'm like, it's going to swallow me into the pit. And she's like, what if it's a wave and it crashes over you? And I'm like, nope, that's not it. And this guy recommended a book called Hind's Feet in High Places, and it's an allegory. And in the allegory, whenever someone recommends like a book that seems like kiddie or allegory, I'm like, okay, Christian books. Brr. Like my first thought is just like, oh, you want me to go cry on a bench with your Christian book? And then I read it, and it was all about this girl having this like healing journey with the Good Shepherd and like how it was so painful. And she talked a lot about the pain of it. But the reason that she was in the pain is because she was being healed. And a good physician is going to operate on you, but like you're going to want to get off the operating table before he's ready. And so for me, I think know that God is really, really concerned about your healing and your heart, and that he wants to prune you so that you could bear more fruit. Because if a plant doesn't get pruned, it will die. Like I have roses in my garden. I don't garden. They just happen to grow there. And because I didn't prune them and I don't know how, they're all dead now. But when you prune them, more beauty comes. And so if you're healing, it can be painful. And that doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong, but let him heal you through his church, the Holy Spirit, counseling, all the things.
Yeah,
that's my final little thing. Yeah. I love all of you. All these
Thanks
people
for
are
having
amazing,
us.
you guys.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
You need to just, if you want to meet them ever, just find them at the church.
Oh yeah, we're available.
Yes,
They're
we're
amazing.
around.
You guys, I love each and every one of you. We could easily have a part 2.
Let's do it.
You'll hear from them. Listener, you'll hear from them again. But they're important voices into our YA community and our church. And then really quick, guys, we have a YA retreat coming up September 26th to the 28th. And you should sign up and go. It's going to be amazing. The theme is the presence of God, which you'll figure out what it is. And then we are a room in the house of Red Rocks Church. And so if you aren't coming to church on the weekend, we would love to see you. All of our Denver-based locations at 5 o'clock on Saturday, Sunday at 8, 10, and 12. And then obviously we meet on Thursdays at the Lakewood campus at 7. So get into a building, get into community. We love you guys. Game changers. Okay, bye.